So here's a Mojo boss that I'm taking with Human Torch. Right now the score is super close. I think it's 8-8. We do have some fights in hand, but as you know, we're desperate for a win, and I throw my special 3. And this Mojo has the audacity to throw his special 3 at 1%. My heart absolutely is beating out of my chest, and it just drops. All I wanted to do was close this one out. I thought I had it in the bag. And let's do that thing where I rewind us back to the start. We can pick it up from there. Hey everybody, welcome back for war number 6 of season 29 of Alliance War. We're at the halfway mark and I'm fighting for the Alliance SAS. And for this war we are matched up against LÆPS. They are a Latin American based alliance. We know that they finished in Plat 1 last season. But here we are, absolutely desperate for a win here. It's going to be tough heading into the second half of the season with a record of 1-5. 2-4 isn't all that much better, but hey, as long as we can chain some wins together coming into the second half, we'll be okay. I have a pretty loaded war here. I'm taking on 9 fights, or I have 3 in Section 1 on Path 5. A little bit worried about that Nick Fury there as per usual. Then we hop over to Path 2 on Section 2 where we have 2 fights. That should be fairly straightforward. And then we're making a pretty decent run on Boss Island with 4 fights, taking on the entire left side. And then we're also assigned the Mojo boss at the end. That's going to be my first time taking on that matchup. So this is the attack team. We're bringing in Apocalypse. He is rank 3 for me. Unfortunately, he's unduped, sitting ugly with those gold stars. But he's taken on 3 fights for us: the Hit Monkey, Nick Fury, and the Mr. Fantastic in Section 2. Archangel is coming along. As per usual, he's at rank 3, Sig 60. He's going to take on 4 fights with a Thor, Hulkbuster, Yellow Jacket, and Sorcerer Supreme, the majority of the fights on Boss Island. And Human Torch rounding off the team, taking our 2 fights, the Ebony Maw and the Mojo boss. So let's get started here. This is Node 2, Ebb and Flow Knockdown. Right back at it, Force of Will. These are fairly newer nodes added to Path 5. I don't remember when they were added, but it does change up the matchup. This is Hit Monkey here, fairly common placement if I recall correctly. I'm used to taking it with Omega, but Apocalypse, same kind of idea. I'm just going to avoid knocking Hit Monkey down here, just so I don't have to deal with the debuff immunity as well as the chance of him evading. So I'm just going to treat it as a long fight, and I thought I was big brain here. I put on Double Edge just so I could gain the bleed immunity from the fight here, as I knew that I had Nick Fury 2 fights from now, and I figured the bleed immunity, it would just be a nice little safety net in case I get tagged. And as you can see here, I thought my timing on his special 1 was good. I end up taking a hit. That takes off a decent chunk of my health, and in the back of my head I'm like, man, did I mess up the timing somehow? So I'm going to stay the course here. I'm going to try and bait a special 1. We've got good spacing here. We're not going to get cornered. We're in a good spot. As you can see, the damage reduction isn't too bad. It's just a longer fight. I'm going to dex again. I get hit. And at this point, I'm like, man, what is going on? And then I remember I forgot to put dexterity back on. I don't know how. But as you can see, if you notice at the start of the fight, there was a little 1 on my profile, meaning I had a mastery point left to give. And yeah, it turns out I don't have dexterity on for this fight. So as soon as I realized that, I understand that I absolutely cannot get cornered here. I'm just going to block every hit of the special 1, no problem. And hopefully it doesn't end up costing us the fight. So you can see there, I blocked the special 1. It's not too bad. Apocalypse has a giant health pool, especially when boosted. So I'm not too worried here. I know that I'm going to take a decent amount of chit damage, but obviously the priority here is just escape with all 3 attack bonuses. So this is the rhythm of the fight here, kind of just pushing him over a bar of power, baiting the special 1, and we are no longer dexing it. We're just going to block all 3 hits. And it's just a slow and steady fight here. He is taking, I believe, 60% reduced damage, so I'm only doing 40% of my potential damage here. But Hit Monkey, even at rank 3, has a really small health pool. I think it was around 118k. So this fight is pretty much a 170k health fight, just taking into account the reduced damage. Maybe a little bit more, I'm not sure. But we're not under too much pressure here. You can see we are taking a decent amount of block damage, but regardless, we're good with our spacing. We have Hitmonkey against the wall. There's very little chance of us getting cornered as long as he's obliging and throwing his special one. But I am looking to hit the red zone here. I do have 3 bars of power, and the plan here is to eventually knock him down, activate the passive Fury, get rid of the damage reduction, and then hope that a special 3 does enough damage. Now, I probably should have tested how much damage the special 3 does before this, and I didn't, so I'm not really sure when the right time to pull the trigger is. So the whole point of the game plan here, by not knocking him down, was to completely bypass the phase where he goes debuff immune, as well as just his ability to evade out of nowhere and punish you once he gets knocked down. That's part of Hitmonkey's base kit. So I know that I am coming close here. I do want to absolutely make sure that I finish him with the special 3, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I have 53% health, not ideal, but it does mean that I can afford to play a little bit more patient. Once again, I just want to get off to a good start this war, knowing that I have 9 fights ahead, or 9 fights total, and starting off with a sloppy death, that's not where I want to be. I want to get off to a solid start, kind of find my rhythm. And there I knock him down. I figured this is most likely going to kill him. So I knock him down, get rid of the protection, activate the passive Fury, fire off my special 3, and I just gotta hope that the stomp finishes him, and it does. So a little bit of a snag there, realizing that I forgot to put dexterity back on, but I'm really thankful I was able to identify that halfway through the fight and then adjust accordingly. So here's note 11. This is ebb and flow, knockdown, and heavy hitter. Heavy hitter being the different note here compared to the last fight, and it can get a little bit hairy if Ebony Maw decides to throw his heavy after his first medium, just because you're relying on reparrying to get your openings in. I have done this fight once in the past, and it got a little bit sketchy because of that. So here we're just going to try and reparry, get our openings, and then also keep in mind that I can use my special attacks to special intercept, and that will count as a knockdown to kind of remove that protection. But here we go. He starts to throw a few heavies at the start. I don't want to get cornered here, and then he ends up throwing a parryable attack, so I'm able to kind of heavy knock him down, kind of get the damage rolling. All the while he throws his special 1 right away. So right now he's being super open here, giving me openings to kind of knock down the ebb and flow protection, and this is going really well. I do end up eating a little bit of degen there, but honestly that's not that big of a deal. I just want to keep him as close to the wall as possible. Just realizing that I also do have a bar of power, pretty much a special 2 here, so I'm going to wait till he dashes in, then I'm going to fire off my special 2 to knock him down. That's also going to give me a stun opening to kind of continue and try and stack as many incinerates as I can to close out the fight. And I'm in a really good spot here. I'm able to close out the fight just like that. So second fight down, and that one goes really clean, really happy with my execution there. On to the third fight, and this is the one that I was most worried for in section 1. Obviously this is a Nick Fury, and Nick Fury can be a pretty punishing defender. The fight snowballs really quickly if you mismanage his charges, because he hits super hard. I'm not too worried about his first stage. I do have to keep power alternator in mind, so I'm going to try and fire off my specials whenever I can while keeping an eye on Nick Fury's power. I'm going to want to push him to the SP2 if possible. And I have an invulnerability boost, as per usual when fighting Nick Fury, just because of how scary he can get. So here we go, we're off to a decent start here. We're able to nail a reparry. We end up missing our first parry, but that's all good. So he's just over a bar of power here, and I'm going to fire off my special 1. In hindsight, I should have waited a little bit longer, because that's not going to push him over to that 2 bars of power. So I am turtling up right after, just to discourage him from throwing it, and we successfully push him to his 2nd bar of power. And he fires it. I end up dexing that a little bit early. It is on time technically, so I don't get hit there, but that is going to come into play later on in the fight. And here we go. I am just trying to get a parry here. I keep missing them, and he threw his heavy there, so I can't punish it. Once again, I should have waited a little bit longer to push him over that 2nd bar of power here. So right now there is the threat of him throwing a special 1. No worries though, we are able to nail a reparry just to get an opening and push him over to that 2nd bar of power. So we're in a good spot here. Throws a special 2. I dex that way too early, and I end up eating a hit there. So there's 3 hits. My indestructible boost, or my invulnerability boost, is burnt up. I'm going to have to get through his second life without that safety net. So not great, not ideal for sure. And at this point, I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. He throws a special one. That's okay. I can punish this a little bit. In hindsight, also not the greatest decision there, because now he's unblockable, and thankfully he does dash back, giving us a slight opening to kind of get rid of his charges there. And we're in an okay spot here. Ideally, I want to block hit him a little bit more just to push him over that second bar of power, but I don't want to leave myself open too much where he throws a special one. So it's a little bit of a dance here. We are able to get a few hits off of on his block there to give him a little bit of power. I just want him to dash back once here. I think I accidentally intercept him when I wasn't, I didn't mean to, and I probably should have continued my combo, but I wasn't expecting to intercept. And I think it happens, oh, never mind. He's at his second bar of power, and we're in a good spot here. At this point, I think I know that this fight is, oh, there's the intercept. And at this point, I know this fight is over. I just have to get out of the way of his special 2. And there we go. So the section 1 is over. That fight definitely could have got a little bit more sketchy than it did. But as per usual, I'm always really, really grateful to just get through Nick Fury with all the attack bonuses available. So there's our section 1. We are hopping over to section 2. We are on path 2. This is node 31 straight counter, block penetration, a newer node as well, plus hard knock life. So I don't really have to worry about the disorient that comes from hard knock life, as Apocalypse is eventually going to become immune. And so I do have an advanced power boost here, simply because I want to play around Mr. Fantastic's the straight counter block penetration, which requires you to throw specials in order to limit the amount of block penetration passives that the defender gets. But also I want to keep in mind that I don't want to throw the same special attack twice in a row. So I do have a power start 1. The plan here is to use my special 2 first, then the special 1, then hopefully loop back to a special 2. And so medium, light, medium combos, I think that extends the amount of time that I have before those block penetration passives start to stack up. And so this is a start we kind of drew up. We are healing a little bit from the willpower based on Mr. Fantastic's debuffs. So that's always cool. We dex out of the way there. And my plan here is to throw a special 1 next. In hindsight, I probably should have heavy just to extend those debuffs a little bit longer. We do get off our special 1. It doesn't do that much damage. We are about halfway through the fight. And I know at this point, it's going to be really tough to get back to a special 2 without letting the block penetration passives get through. And I'm just trying to bait his special 1 here. Try not to get cornered once again. Just kind of dancing around. He finally throws it. And at this point, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do here. Just because, as you can see, I'm eventually going to run out of charges here. And there's no way I'm going to be able to get to a special 2 before he does stack up a few of those block penetration passes. And he evades, and that also plays into the Untouchables Global, so he is going to gain a little bit of power, but his special 1 and special 2, they aren't too hard to dex out of the way. And at this point, I'm just trying to get through the fight here. You can see he's slowly gaining block penetration passes, so the chip damage is going to get a little bit rude. I get to my special 2, I end up throwing it. Thankfully it does connect, but I did mess up. I ended up taking the last hit of his special 2, which did a decent amount of damage. I'm not sure what happened there. I thought I nailed the parry. I guess I didn't, but we are kind of in the red zone. I just need to squeak through that last little bit of damage. He evades, but we're able to kind of force through that last hit. So honestly, a lot sketchier than I thought it was going to be. I knew there was a bit of an obstacle just based on Mr. Fantastic's abilities and the block penetration node, but once again, just thankful to get through with all 3 attack bonuses. So this is node 31 straight counter block penetration under pressure, pretty much an identical node set compared to the last one. But this is Thor Ragnarok here. And before this section 2, I was kind of debating between Archangel and Apocalypse for this fight. Just thinking about the RNG and if I don't land Neuros. Should I be immune to disorient in case the fight goes long? And then I eventually audibled into Archangel here because now I have the benefit of him being a horseman. Apocalypse after Mr. Fantastic was at all 4 charges, so he's a horseman, and you can see Archangel was clearly the best option as this fight is almost over, and we've nailed 4 heavies, and you can see Thor Ragnarok's not gaining any of the block penetration charges. We are beyond 100% ability accuracy reduction. And there we go. So that fight goes down really smoothly, thankfully, after a bit of a sketchy one versus Mr. Fantastic. And we are headed off to Boss Island here, where we are making our final push This is a Hulkbuster. I do have the Stormbreaker pre-fight, giving myself shock resistance from Herm. The BG mate, he was able to hook me up here, setting me up for the Boss Island run here. And this should be a really straightforward fight. I do have the benefit of being a horseman, so my ability accuracy is going to be juiced up here, and I also have shock resistance in case one of those shock passives or shock debuffs get applied to me. I do end up throwing a combat regen here just to mitigate some of the chip damage, as I'm going to use Archangel for the next 2 fights after this one. And we're off to a really good start here. We have 6 neurotoxins on Hulkbuster. He is melting, and I don't have to worry about him going unblockable. Not when I have more than 4 neurotoxins, as I know that that's over 100% ability accuracy reduction. I am very cautious with punishing these stuns that come from the neurotoxins. I don't want to be a little bit late, get parried, and have the fight snowball from there. As you can see, he got unblockable after his special 1 there. I only had 3 neurotoxins, leaving him a little bit of a chance to go unblockable. All good. We were able to play around that, and the fight goes over really, really smoothly there. Archangel with that shock pre-fight. It's a really nice matchup for us, and we are moving on to a yellow jacket here on node 51. He's got Hurt Locker, Power Focus 1, Enhanced Special 1, and Power Drain. So same thing, I'm just going to hope that Archangel as a horseman kind of just rolls through, but I do have to keep in mind that his special 1 will be unblockable if I am under 4 neurotoxins, so just to be mindful and kind of keep my spacing. As long as he has a bar of power. Just because I don't want to get tagged, that's kind of the only way that this fight kind of goes south. But regardless, hit my parries, hit my heavies, stack a few neuros, and then just hope for the best here. We do have that combat regen boost. There we go. We're able to get spacing. We're able to dex through that first one. Nail a reparry, giving us multiple poisons to work with here. And at this point, I know that this fight is in control. I do have to keep my spacing here. But he does dash in. I probably should have punished there. I'm not sure why I backed away. But now that he's over 4 neurotoxins, I don't have to worry about the special 1 being unblockable. I can kind of stay close and just try and snowball the fight my way. So here we go. I am going to punish that stun here just because it was right in front of me. I don't have to worry about being late. I can throw a special here just to kind of close out. I don't know if I do. I don't really need to at this point. Like, I have enough neurotoxins that I don't have to worry. I can just chill out and let those neuros do its work, and it does. So there's our second fight on Boss Island down. No sweat there. Really clean execution. Pretty straightforward fight. We are moving on to node 54. This is Aspect of Evolution, Enhanced Special 2 Bias, and Improved Power Gain. So I'm going to use Horse Angel here. I am going to activate an invulnerability boost just in case she doesn't really play, or I have some unfortunate RNG with the neurotoxins. That way I can eat a few special 3s if I need to. Once again, this is a really tight war at this point. Not a lot of margin for error here, and we do need this win, so I am going to take advantage of every safety net possible here as I finish out the run. So we do get 1 neurotoxin, but you can see she's gaining power pretty quickly here. She throws her special 2, really easy to dex out of the way, no worries. It does buy us a little bit more time to stack neuros and try and finish the fight here. This is the last fight I need Archangel for, not too worried about the chip damage. We still have all 3 invulnerability hits there. So luckily enough, she throws her special 2 again, buying us a little bit more time. I do have to stay mindful of Aspect of Evo a little bit, but as you can see, I still have a lot of health to work with, plus the full invulnerability boost. But we haven't been able to stack a ton of neurotoxins on her. I think the most we had was 2 or 3. So she does eventually get to her special 3, but I'm in a good spot here. I do have the invulnerability boost active, so no worries. I'm going to be able to tank this entire special 3. I do have 2 more in the bank. I have to worry or keep in mind that I don't want to get out of that special 3 and burn the rest of those invulnerabilities, so it doesn't matter. The neurotoxins eventually finish her off, and we have 1 fight left to go. This is our first time taking on a Mojo boss. We are using Torch here. We don't have access to Spider-Man 2099, unfortunately, so I am using my Flame on. Dexterity Mastery, I am taking off here. I use the practice function quite a bit here, just trying to get familiar with shallow evading of the heavy. I don't want to get cornered, and at this point my hands are definitely super shaky and sweaty. I'm super nervous knowing that a decent amount is on the line in terms of our result here. So fingers crossed. I have a plethora of pre-fights thanks to my BG mates. I do have an invulnerability boost, of course, just to give me as big of a safety net as possible. Take a deep breath, and I head in here. So my priority here is to shallow evade the heavy, which I did right there, and then also take advantage of hitting into his block just so I don't get cornered. I want a lot of space to work with, so I'm not going to stick to the traditional medium, light, medium combos. I am going to extend with 4-hit or 5-hit combos. And at this point, I probably should bait the special 1 here, but I am, obviously, I'm really nervous here and I don't want to get cornered, so I end up not baiting it as much as I needed to. He does throw a special 2, but we're still in an okay spot here. I do want to keep up a little bit more pressure. I'm not stacking enough Novas as I would like to. I end up eating a heavy there, unfortunately, so there's 1 hit out of my invulnerability boost burned. And I'm not, at this point, I'm not really happy with the amount of pressure I've been able to put on Mojo. Thankfully, he does throw the special 1 there. That buys us a little bit of time, stacks up a decent amount of smolders there. As you can see, we are almost at 30 smolders. So at this point, he does throw his special 2. That's awesome for us, but you can see we are starting to gain the hater buffs there. So now the degen is going to start to tick us down. It will fuel Mystic Dispersion. And the fight is becoming a little bit close as we head into the red zone for both champions. I do have a degen ticking on me, knowing that I need to fire off my special 3 here before the degen ticks me down. And I'm hoping that this finishes him off, knowing that I'm going to have a few Novas after this, kind of stacked up on him. And he throws his special 3 at 1%. And at this point, my heart is pounding out of my chest, as I mentioned at the start of this video. Remembering that I do have at least 2 hits of the invulnerability boost active here, and thankfully that's enough to kind of save my bacon and close out the fight. So we do get through this fight with all 3 attack bonuses. Definitely not as clean as I thought, or as I was hoping it would be, especially since I ended up taking that heavy to the face. But big shout out to my BG, especially Crim and Ink, for planning this war. They put me in a good position to succeed. I prefer to finish all my fights within that first day. I don't like fighting in the morning. And also a big thanks to the rest of the battle group for kind of hustling through, getting us there and putting me in a good position. We do end up pulling out the win here, 14-8. Once again, not as clean as we'd like to be, but at this point we're gonna take the win and be really happy about that. So second half approaching. Catch you for War 7. Thanks for stopping by.